ABC 10 News at 4 starts now.
Right now on ABC 10 News at 4 o'clock, more answers as to who will be among the first to get a COVID-19 vaccine, how distribution will work once it's approved, and what Attorney General William Barr is now saying about claims of widespread election fraud. Plus,
everyone has stepped up.
Stepping up to keep San Diegans from going hungry inside the operations at the Feeding San Diego warehouse. And just a couple of hours ago, a CDC panel recommended healthcare workers and nursing home residents be first in line to get a vaccine for COVID-19, a vaccine that can't come soon enough. As of today, the U.S. surpassed another grim milestone. More than 270 million Americans have now died from the virus. ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco has a look at what happens next in what's expected to be a complex distribution plan.
Let me just jump right in.
California's governor announced Monday that roughly 327,000 COVID-19 vaccines could arrive from Pfizer by mid-December. Who will be first in line to get the shot is still unclear. Dr. Mark Sawyer is a pediatric infectious disease specialist at Rady Children's Hospital and UCSD. He's part of an FDA committee that will review the vaccines.
I think it is reasonable to think that by mid-December, those first shipments are going to be at local health departments and starting to be distributed.
Tuesday, a CDC advisory board voted on a proposal that would give priority to healthcare workers and patients in nursing homes, but the final decision is up to each state.
And then it's up to the state and county health departments to work out the finer details of how vaccine is going to be distributed and where it's going to go.
Included in those details, how to store the vaccine at roughly minus 70 degrees Celsius. That's about 50 degrees colder than any other vaccine.
Not every healthcare provider is going to be able to get some in their office because they're not going to be able to have the capacity to store it the way it needs to be stored.
The CDC says once a vaccine is approved, roughly 5 to 10 million doses will be available each week. Both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines require 2 doses.
A vaccine that's 95% effective was beyond our dreams when we first started talking about this. So if that holds up, then we're in good shape with regard to this pandemic.
The federal government is requiring each state to put in their orders for a vaccine by Friday. Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
San Diego County health officials are expected to announce their distribution plan tomorrow.
While the federal government prepares to ship COVID vaccines, states have some concerns. Government Accountability Office report found almost half of states are greatly or completely concerned about having enough supplies to administer vaccines, specifically needles. Another 21 states were moderately concerned. Some states said they were already struggling to keep up with the needle demand for flu shots. The report did not specify which states. It did lay out recommendations for the Department of Health and Human Services and FEMA to work together on supply chain shortages. The government disagreed with those recommendations twice. Now, a vaccine creates an opportunity, unfortunately, for cyber attackers.
Nation states or certain organizations are targeting vaccine researchers, and overwhelmingly, the vectors that we're seeing are still email-based. So that continues to be the biggest concern.
Checkpoint Security Software says coronavirus-related cyber attacks are down since the summer, but the number of malicious vaccine-related websites is up. So-called threat actors are sending out vaccine-related email phishing campaigns. A recent one had the email subject, "Urgent Information Letter, COVID-19 New Approved Vaccines."
So what I would really warn folks is that if you receive an email that contains a vaccine sort of sensational type of subject in the email itself, and then there's an attachment, and the attachment is either an executable or an office document, those are things that you want to watch out for.
Now, people who opened that document in the phishing email, well, it actually had a way to steal usernames and passwords. Now, and only get your vaccine information from your trusted news and government websites, not your inbox.
This is just the next thing, right? So every time there's a new announcement, that specific subject or that specific entity that's tied to, say, a vaccine is what's going to become the next target, right? So these threat actors are very, very closely monitoring the global pandemic, and then using those moments to quickly make and adjust their attack methods.
Now here's another phishing email campaign that had coronavirus vaccine in the subject line. The email contained a malicious link that took people to a fake website that looked like a legitimate Canadian pharmacy.
The city of San Diego is planning to close the convention center homeless shelter that opened when the pandemic first started. Mayor Faulkner and other leaders say that those people will now be moved to local hotels and more permanent housing. But as ABC 10 News anchor Lindsay Pena reports, one group is worried that not everybody will be included.
For months now, the San Diego Convention Center has been transformed into a massive homeless shelter, housing more than 1,000 people at a time. But come the end of December, things will be changing.
We provided them with wraparound services on site. We protected them from COVID-19, and now we are successfully transitioning them into permanent supportive housing.
The city has purchased 2 area hotels that will provide 332 units for long-term housing. Bob McElroy with the Alpha Project says it's a good solution to a complicated and ongoing problem.
I think the idea of taking these motels and turning them into facilities for our folks, that's a tremendous idea and a tremendous resource.
But others have concerns about the plan.
We don't think that it's right for the city to be closing down such a vital resource.
Cecily Ma is the director of the Mustard Seed Project, a local homeless advocacy group. They worry the hotels and other shelters won't be enough and started a petition on change.org to keep it open.
We just don't really see the numbers adding up that everyone's going to have a place to stay.
A spokesperson for the mayor's office issued a statement that reads in part, quote, "The city would never return individuals who are already in shelter back to the streets. We will ensure that everyone has a safe place to go, whether that be permanent housing or another shelter option." Lindsay Pena, ABC 10 News.
The Convention Center homeless shelter is set to close on December 31st. Meantime, a Los Angeles County supervisor is under fire after eating out at a restaurant on the same day she voted to support shutting down in-person dining. Supervisor Sheila Kuehl was later seen eating out at a restaurant in Santa Monica. A spokesperson for Kuehl said that dining out was still allowed at that time, and the supervisor was supporting her favorite restaurant before it had to close. All dining in LA County is shut down. Minutes ago, the county reported over 7,500 new cases today. And keep track of the latest COVID-19 developments with our ABC 10 News mobile app that is free in the App Store. And turning now to our weather, strong Santa Ana winds are likely in the future. Minutes ago, SDG&E said that it notified more than 88,000 customers they're at risk of prolonged power outages. Meteorologist Angelica Campos is tracking these fire conditions right now that will go through the week. Angelica?
That's right, Kim. Santa Ana winds are going to be back, and this time around they could be quite powerful, potentially bringing down trees and power lines. And when there's that level of danger, it's probably a good idea to shut down power to minimize the threat of fires. With the conditions we have, it is dry and it's getting windy. That would create critical fire dangers. We'll have to prevent any fires from starting. Looking at the winds right now, you can see those winds are out of the east in Julian, Alpine, averaging 60 to 17 miles per hour, which is not bad yet, but those winds will be getting stronger by the end of the day tomorrow. A high wind watch will be in effect from Thursday morning at 1 a.m. until Friday at 12 p.m. Here's the red flag warning in effect starting at 6 p.m. Wednesday through 10 p.m. on Saturday. So it'll be Wednesday night through Friday morning when we're expecting the strongest winds. And coming up, I'll break down exactly what to expect in this region highlighted by the red flag warning, and also what the temperatures will look like as we head into the weekend.
All right, so dry out there. Thank you, Angelica. Attorney General William Barr says the Justice Department has not found evidence to support allegations of widespread fraud in the 2020 presidential election. However, President Trump and his legal team maintain their legal challenges of widespread voter fraud. Several election lawsuits have been thrown out. Some states have now certified their results. Before the election, Barr said mail-in voting during the pandemic was not secure.